Buongiorno and welcome to Church History for Chumps. My name is John Simon. I'm here with my good friends Taylor Amor Mio Treadway, and of course we've got Thomas Cocha de Mama Duell.
That sounds like a slur.
No, they're both good. Amor Mio.
Word to your mother.
It's apple of my mother's eye.
Oh.
Which my mom doesn't know you that well, but I think she'd like you, Thomas.
Yeah, we've always got along.
Yeah, exactly. You guys have gotten a good little rapport with each other. Well, hey, it is let's see, it's about 2 days after Christmas as we're recording. We're about to start the new year. How was your guys' Christmas? You guys get any? Feels weird to be like, did you get any good gifts? But I mean,
like you're coming back to school and you're like, oh, what'd you get?
Yeah, exactly. Did you get the new PlayStation?
I texted you guys that Brandy and I both got each other humidifiers.
Aww.
And what did I say?
Tommy said, welcome to Christmas in your 30s.
Yeah, it would have been nicer if one of you got a dehumidifier, because then you could just kind of
cycle thing.
Like the gift of the Magi situation.
Right.
That's right.
In fairness, they are different. So mine's more of like a medical thing, like really like pumping. Because poor Brandy's throat has just been.
Is she her. Like chronically dehydrated?
I don't know, but her little throat, and so I got her like a serious industrial, and then she got me one that like makes lights and has a little fountain and puts out.
Oh, it's a little. That's sweet.
Yeah, and it puts out scent if you put it's like a diffuser as well.
I was gonna say, I feel like you just got an essential oils diffuser. That's what that sounds like.
Well, they say it's a humidifier too, so
you need to get like a bonsai tree now to go with it.
Let's
and like
go.
Some sand with a rake.
A little gong.
Garden. Yeah, some of those flat stones with kanji on it that says like humility.
Right. Yes. This would be my morning meditation.
Would you accept that as a gift, Thomas, or would you be like, evil spirit? Yeah.
I don't really actually know what that is, so
do a little bit of research. I did receive a gift from a member when I was still pastoring. I think she went to China, and it was like it kind of reminded me of like one of those little Russian dolls, but it wasn't like, you open it and there's like 6 inside. It's just like kind of egg shaped, and it's porcelain, and it was like red and had this weird, very religious face on it. And I was like, thank you so much. And I threw it away.
Pentecostal like, John came out.
No.
You're really banking that she doesn't listen to the podcast.
I think I'm okay.
John's his Baptist-costal came out there.
Dude, here's the thing. When all else fails, it's always good to ask. Maybe there's a demonic component to what's happening. Because I've definitely had those moments where I'm just like, dude, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what is stressing. Oh, hold on. That might be something.
You know what it is? You're traumatized. So guys, everybody, listeners, Tommy, when John and I were in college.
Oh my gosh, thank the Lord. The educated Baptist is here to set me straight.
No, I'm telling you, like you were traumatized by that story we heard at Challenge.
Which one?
Oh, you've buried it subconsciously. We had a friend who shared with everybody one night that when she was living in Japan and her mom collected all these statues, that like she was left at home one day and like a bunch of demons like manifested and harassed her.
Oh gosh.
You don't remember this?
No.
I sounds like it traumatized you, Ted.
Dude, I brought stuff
well,
back from Asia.
And I had a friend at Challenge. I don't know if she ever told you these stories, but she would tell, it might have been the same person actually, but she used to tell me that she would have these visions of like coyotes coming to like her bedroom, and they would speak to her in these like dark evil tones.
Yes, and they came from the statues.
Right. That's right.
See,
Yeah.
you did internalize it.
Yep. Well, I remember driving through like Oro Valley, some of the more like deserty parts of town, and I would see coyotes crossing, and I used to like slow down, but then I was like, nah.
Ram, straight ahead.
Just a little coyote.
I've never killed a coyote, but I have also I'm not going to swerve to miss one. Let's just
If you did it would be a skinwalker, and that was God just letting you clean up the creation a little
Let's
bit.
go. I'm here for that. Yeah. I have no sympathy.
Who am I on a
break for
podcast with? What is this?
We've suddenly turned into Haunted Cosmos. Oh,
is that
man.
the Presbyterian one that talks about all the?
Yes.
I think they're in Tommy's camp. Are they Presby or are they CREC?
They're actually neither. They're Presbyterian adjacent.
Oh, okay.
We definitely have a lot of listeners to Church History for Chumps that really love that podcast.
That is true. We've had some of our folks shout that out. Speaking of shout outs, I know we talk about Jackson a lot, but I need to shout out Jackson because he's been like tutoring me in how to find good resources for like learning Spanish, because I guess he kind of shared, I won't go into all the details because it's his family business, but he basically retaught himself French, and now he and like his family speak it. So then he gave me all these solid tips about it. So I was like, hey, thanks, Jackson.
It's not just cool. Duolingo.
No, it's a lot more. It's a lot more.
I don't know how true this was. I saw a story. Someone said my dad's been on Duolingo for like 500 days, and we went to Spain, and then he said my dad was useless.
Dude, it's true. What's the point
my dad
of being
could only utter like 4 sentences, and it's like you've been studying this language for 2 years.
Dude,
I feel like Duolingo
I kind of roasted a buddy
well
of mine. It's
Japanese.
like basic vocabulary, but like I kind of roasted a buddy of mine because he was like kind of bragging about how his Duolingo streak was like 1,000 days plus, like several years, and I was like, why don't you try saying something to my wife who speaks Spanish fluently? And I was like, Annie, say something to him. And she's just like, hola, Caleb, ¿cómo estás? And he was like,
dang,
bien. And I felt so bad because this was the middle of Bible study. So I just like put this man on blast. But I was also like, your little experiment is bust.
He deserves it.
Sorry.
Duolingo's a scam.
That owl might be a demon now that we're full circle.
Gosh.
Yeah, they worship the freaking owl from Duolingo.
Mm-hmm. Hey, was Dane able to open presents?
Yeah, he did a little opening.
Oh, let's go.
Thanks for asking.
Right.
Was he
Cool.
like? Did you have to like really guide him, or like Big Brother's like, like he just watched them?
See, Dane is at the age where like we realized about a week ago we probably should have just gotten him like a paper cup as his present, because that sort of thing is like what he's most excited about.
He's like, let's go.
$25 toy from Target, paper cup, same thing for him.
Dane's at the age where he will unwrap something and stay engaged with the wrapping paper and not with whatever.
There's so much stimulus there. That's the thing. Yeah, it's making
fun.
sounds. It's all weird. Yeah, I get that.
John, did Annie, you don't even know what you got for Christmas. You just played with the wrapping paper.
Yeah, I'm still kind of fixated on the boxes, big dog. I'm just excited about that. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Oh man.
Hey, before what I was about to say, like, so
hold on, I wasn't interrupting.
I thought you were gonna jump into jumping in.
No. I mean, I saw that you were redirecting, and I was like, let me give Taylor the floor. And then you were like, I
have the microphone. Let me ask this. So, because the listeners are also getting this, and I have this theory that this week between Christmas and New Year's is just like a dead, good for nothing week. But like a lot of people still have to go to work, and like they just like pretend to do stuff because half the country's shut down. I guess, John, you actually have to work.
Yes,
people don't take a break from dying the week after Christmas.
No, and families don't stop grieving and all that. It's actually, here's the thing. I've been in a real sourpuss mood about having to work during the holidays, but I've also really appreciated all of the time I've had with my patients and families too. So I think God's kind of helping me out there because I just always find myself in a lousy mood. But then I'm like, oh, this was actually really meaningful. I'm glad I was here.
Softening your
anyways
stone, frozen, chosen heart.
Melting this Scrooge heart of stone.
Tommy,
in me,
you have not. Did you meet with any clients this week?
I did.
Oh, wow. Oh, maybe my theory is a little bust.
Maybe it's just you, man. Maybe you're just the only one who's not working this week.
I don't know, dude. My pastor asked me on Sunday to preach. So I had to write a.
You're preaching tomorrow. You're preaching this tomorrow.
T minus 12 and a half hours.
Ah, dang. We could have asked people to pray, but by the time they listen to it, it won't make a difference.
I think they should probably still pray for all the damage that's about to be done.
That's right. Pray that God just heals the people for what they heard on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. Corrects any heresy. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sure it's gonna be great, man. I think you're good. You're kind of getting in your pocket a little bit as far as preaching goes, right?
I hope so. I was assigned the new heavens and the new earth as a topic, and so I chose.
Okay,
I chose Isaiah 66.
Epic.
So is this gonna get a little fire and brimstony?
By that last verse,
yeah.
I asked oh shoot, what's his name? Heath something. He's the president of Oklahoma Baptist University. One time he taught a class on Isaiah when I was in seminary. I didn't go to OBU. It was just or whatever it's called. He was guest lecturing, and I asked him one time, because the way Isaiah 66 ends is like, it's all like this beautiful language about the new heavens and the new earth, and the nations streaming into the city of God and all this. And then the last verses, and then they will go out and look at the dead bodies burning, where the worm does not die
and the fire is not quenched. Yeah.
Yeah. And I asked the professor, I was like, why does it end like that? And he was like, well, if I may have told this story in the podcast before, I'm not sure, but he was just like, if you live in a place where, like, let's say you're in Nigeria and like your entire town just got wiped out by Muslims, like every single person in your town was like beheaded, verses like that are actually good news too. Like, we kind of have this charmed perspective on what is considered good news living in America, where we don't have a lot of intense suffering. But if you experience intense suffering and intense injustice, then that sort of verse becomes good news. And he recommended a book. I think it's called like Piles of Bodies, Heaps of Slain. And it's like the subtext. I've heard that
album. Yeah, it's by Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah. It's like reading the minor prophets through a African lens or something like that, basically dealing with kind of like imprecatory prophetic language through the lens of Africans who go through a lot of suffering.
At risk of rabbit trailing too long, this is really interesting though. What's even more fascinating, obviously the enemies of God are at the forefront. Like, they're going to the Assyrians in that specific context with Isaiah are like going to receive the judgment. But Isaiah 66, he's mostly addressing the false, like, religious people, which is even more controversial and scary. But yeah, the whole passage, the whole book of Isaiah is just riddled with a lot of hope and then a lot of like warning and judgment for those on the wrong side.
Yeah, Isaiah's tough. It's a great book, but it's hard. There's a lot of
Taylor's got to finish his sermon, so we should probably dive in.
Bro, it's done.
Good point.
It's done.
Oh, he's not.
Taylor has to finish his Taylor has to finish his sermon. So we better wrap up.
Tom, are you preaching tomorrow?
Why do you ask?
I was gonna say Taylor's not in the Duell Simon school of finishing your sermon at 1:30 a.m. Sunday
It's
morning.
fresh. You keep it fresh.
It's a rush, man. Dude, I had some of the sweetest times with God, just praying that he would help me write a sermon in the 11th hour.
God, I won't do this again until next time.
It's like, Lord, please. It's the closest I came to like those prayers that people talk about when they like partied too hard or whatever, and they're like, God, I'll never do it again. Like praying at the porcelain throne. I'm just like praying at my freaking,
MacBook Pro.
tray table laptop.
Yeah.
Just like, Lord, please. I don't know what I'm doing with this passage.
Well, we should start. Yeah.
We should.
Okay.
We should. All right. Well, Taylor felt really bad about how the episode we did on Our Lady of Guadalupe went. So we decided we would throw the Catholics yet another bone and do an episode about the Sistine Chapel, a place that Catholics and Protestants and pagans the world over probably enjoy. So Taylor, thank you for recommending this. All right, Ray, hold on one second, Taylor. Ray, could you put on some like kind of tour guide, kind of like music you'd hear back in like the 90s when you visit like a museum's website that has like really bad graphics like Microsoft Paint? Thanks, Ray.
Man, trying to imagine what that'll sound like.
You know what's in my
Jumpcast.
mind is the commercial. It was the beginning of those videos that they would play in school, like the VHS tapes. It's like the African sounding like and then you're like exploring.
Yes,
That was enough to trigger your memory. Yes.
All right, here we go. So Ray, could you put that on for us, please? Thank you. Chumpcast Productions would like to welcome you to the Sistine Chapel's virtual audio tour. For best experience, we recommend using headphones or having easy access to a computer where you can look up the things that we're describing. This production may not be reproduced without prior written consent from Chumpcast Productions. This is the official audio tour, both used and endorsed by the Catholic Church, TM. Intricate marble floors, low-hanging woven tapestries, pews carved from oak and walnut, and overhead, a view of some of the most majestic art pieces by the finest artists of their time. No, that's not Staples Center, home of the Los Angeles Lakers. You're in the Sistine Chapel, one of the premier destinations to witness in the esteemed Vatican City. Ever since 1878, the Sistine Chapel has housed the conclave, a ceremonial meeting of the cardinals in order to elect a new pope. Fun fact, did you know that Conclave was also the name of a popular movie from 2024 starring Ralph Fiennes and Stanley Tucci? Construction for the Sistine Chapel started in 1473 and concluded in 1481. Most notably included the intricate artwork of Michelangelo, who composed both the ceiling from 1508 to 1512 and the Last Judgment, 1536 to 1541. The Sistine Chapel remains one of the most widely visited areas in the world, and especially in Vatican City, which is housed within the city of Rome. Gloria Deo Gloria. All right, there we go. That's kind of our start.
It took
Man, if our podcast ever blows up, we are going to get a heater of a cease and desist from the Vatican. For that.
Dude, they have a lot of things they need to talk to us about.
The Curia
That's
is going to
fine.
send an assassin to kill John.
And make him a martyr.
That's all right. They just need to listen to our other episodes where I'm the only person sympathetic to the Catholic Church. I've been
John's
I've
like,
been
what should we
fighting."
do for our third episode ever? Maximilian Colby.
Yeah, come on. Who doesn't love a good old Catholic
Look,
martyr,
we love
bro?
St.
Come on.
Francis.
We've been doing Catholic martyrs since we started. We love the Catholic Church. We
Yeah.
love the Papists, and we never call them that. So yeah, we're talking about the Sistine Chapel. It's an incredible, and what I love about it, dude, is if you look up Sistine Chapel virtual tour, you can literally like walk through the Sistine Chapel and you're just immediately taken in by just the incredible, I mean, like everything from, you've got these marble mosaic floors that you're literally walking on, which makes you feel kind of strange that you're walking on something so beautiful. You've got art all across the walls. And then of course you have the ceiling itself, which is, just these rich frescoes. So I'm going to go through a few definitions for art terms because I'm not much of an artist. I didn't do really any art history, but one of the words that is probably going to be most relevant for understanding the beauty of the Sistine Chapel is the word fresco. And a fresco is a painting where essentially you mix water-based paint with like wet lime plaster. So essentially you're making a paint that mimics the material that you're painting it on, which causes the paint and the wall itself to kind of chemically bond, which means that it's going to become a permanent part of the surface. And I think it's going to endure the test of time really well, which is kind of
I made a fresco in homeschool one time.
Did you really?
Yeah. You just like unlocked a little memory for me that I had forgotten.
Dude, we're just doing that left and right tonight.
I drank a fresca the other day.
Gosh dang it. What you'll also see kind of covering the walls are spandrels and lunettes. So a spandrel is a roughly triangular space, usually found in pairs, between the top of an arch and a rectangular frame between the tops of two adjacent arches. And then a lunette, which is French for little moon, is a crescent or half-shaped architectural space or feature where they usually fill it with sculptures or painted designs or masonry or things like that. So, I mean, the level of mastery that was used for this space, and like I mentioned before in my kind of derpy introduction, the main use, so this is like the personal chapel of the Pope, but it's most regularly used in kind of the rites of the church within the conclave, which they used earlier this year for the election of Pope Leo the 14th. Let me think. I was just gonna. Oh, do you guys know the difference between a chapel and a church?
Oh, what?
This is interesting. I looked
There's
this
a
up.
technical definition?
There is.
I'm guessing a chapel is only a worship space.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's a good guess.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so like we refer to the chapel space at school, like we say that's the chapel. In old churches that have like a remodeled sanctuary, they will have a lot of old churches maintain their old sanctuary, and a lot of times they'll call it the chapel.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think a lot of, because my old church growing up did that too. And I think that it's kind of become synonymous with just like a smaller, lesser used church building. But like traditionally, the difference between a church and a chapel, kind of like Thomas was saying, is churches are, they are specifically for a congregation or a parish. Like there's usually a priest or a pastor assigned to that church building, whereas a chapel is just a worship space.
So the chapel is more of a building than because when you say church,
or
like,
it could be a place inside of a building. So like if you have like I'm pretty sure you could have like a cathedral, which is basically like a town, enclosed in walls, and then within that cathedral somewhere you'd have maybe even more than one chapel.
Yeah, because like I mean, even in the secular space, quote unquote, you can have a chapel in a hospital, which is where chaplains often meet with people. But also, if you want to go somewhere, and usually hospital chapels will have like kind of tiny little stained glass windows, something to kind of give it this sense of like religious significance.
Yeah, like old manors will have a little chapel. Yeah. Wow, I never thought of that. That's.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like on pilgrimages, and especially in towns that used to have a lot of religious symbol or significance, you can find a chapel, and it's usually a very small, so usually it's like a single room, and yeah, it'll usually have, a few pews, usually like kind of like a front display area with some of the basic stuff. But yeah, you can pray there, and it's expected to worship, but it's not a place where a church would gather regularly. So, interesting little thing there.
So the Sistine Chapel was just that, a chapel, but it was for papal activities.
It's also not that big. I think people tends to go into the Sistine Chapel and they're surprised at how small it is, because I think
is it super tall but not a lot of square footage?
Yeah, so it's 68 feet high, which is pretty substantial, which also makes sense considering you're kind of gazing up at it. But yeah, I think it's like 40 meters long, like 13 meters wide. So yeah, I mean, when you consider a building that, you kind of expect to be, I don't know, massive, like, so when you think of a lot of these cathedrals and basilicas that are just like, yeah, basically like these little towns that have all these little separate segments and all these other areas. It's basically just a rectangle. It's just one long hall that's about 100 some feet long and then 40 feet wide. So yeah, it's not as big as people tend to expect.
That's super interesting.
Okay. Have neither of you have been to Rome, right?
Nah, it's on the list.
I haven't either.
Though.
I've only traveled to Africa and China and Japan.
So you went to 2 different Disney parks and Ethiopia.
Yes. I bet, like, it's kind of funny. Most people don't have that on their passports before they have Europe or Mexico, right?
You know what? Hey, set the trend.
Yeah.
Blaze the trail.
So to answer your question, no, I have not.
I've not been to Rome.
Yeah, I've not been to Rome.
I also didn't know this. It's not free to go to the Sistine Chapel.
Of course not.
You have to. It's
gotta pay an indulgence.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, it probably.
Yeah, wait a second.
It's basically, it functions like a museum. So I think I saw that it was like 40 some bucks to like buy a ticket to go, but you can't just like waltz in, which I think is kind of whack. I get it, but I'm also like, come on, dude.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? You don't have to pay to get into
your church, Taylor.
No, I was going to say
on Sunday at 9 a.m. when Taylor's going to be preaching.
I was going to say the Smithsonian and a bunch of other secularist monuments.
Is the Smithsonian really free?
Yes, every museum in DC is free.
They're federally funded.
That is actually super surprising. See,
I get it because Rome doesn't have a lot of money. I get it. They're hurting for cash. Come at me, Rome. I'm tired of this.
Man.
I'm going to get Assassin's Creed, dude.
We may never drop this episode.
I know. For fear of Taylor's life, who's also heavily doxed himself.
Guys, if you're in Ontario, California, and you see a hooded, slender man holding Taylor, please tell him it's not worth it. Oh my gosh. So when the Sistine Chapel was originally built between 73
hold on. I have to hype our listeners up for the fact that I'm going to make an announcement. We are going to be bringing video to Church History to Chumps. And if you could have seen Taylor's face right now, which actually we could probably make a short. We have to make a reel out of what Taylor just did.
He might need to do that. Yeah.
He was dead serious. There was fire in his eyes.
It's that Baptist fire. They stoke that fire since the day they're born.
That's right.
Right after they're baptized.
I'm catechized in it. It's Sunday school.
All right. So it was originally known as the Capella Magna, which is just I think means big chapel in Italian.
Sounds way cooler than just big chapel, though.
Yeah, it does.
Capella Magna.
And it was under the decree of Pope Sixtus IV, and Pope Sixtus is where we get the name Sistine from. So that's where Sistine Chapel originally comes from. Mm-hmm. Taylor, you did a little bit of research about Michelangelo. I want you to share about that, because then I have some fun facts about some controversies that came from Michelangelo's contribution.
So he's kind of an interesting fella. If I had to give a brief painting, if you will, a quick sculpture of his life, I would say Michelangelo is he would be like a hero in today's world. The dude was loaded by the end of his life. Had more money than even some like princes is what I saw. And he just didn't care. Like he just didn't. He ate to survive. The guy he just wanted to do art, man. He came from this. I'll jump in now to his biograph. So he was born on March 6th in 1475. So that kind of the high Renaissance period is getting ready to start, and his family was just middle class. So his dad was like a banker and like involved in some local politics, but not super wealthy. And then his mom dies when he's 6, and he gets sent to go live with a nanny whose husband is works with stone, and that's where he picks up his first hammer and chisel. And he actually, so by age 13, though, he gets taken on as an apprentice. So you got to remember back then, you didn't go to public school, right? Mm-hmm. So you like became an apprentice to something, to learn something was kind of your average person's path. But he gets taken on by this guy. It is so hard for me not to pronounce these with my like borderline racist New York Italian.
Do it, man. Do it. So we're here for
Domenico Ghirlandaio.
That's exactly how it is.
So we'll call him Dom.
And that's how an Italian man with a stutter introduces himself.
Right, yeah. Domenico Ghirlandaio. Anyway, he gets taken on by this guy who is a very famous painter. So but then Michelangelo is basically like a savant. And so he quickly becomes one of his favorite students. And that's kind of how he gets his start. At a certain point, he goes and studies. They call it like one of the humanist schools. But we have to like the word humanist now is got it more of a secular connotation. It did not back then. Michelangelo, from my understanding and my brief period of research, was a devout Catholic and like loved the Lord.
Oh,
why? What?
So that humanist school, he wasn't learning about like no.
Honestly,
Nietzsche.
No. Nietzsche didn't come around yet. The world wasn't tainted by his foul insert whatever. He did. I want to say though, the Franciscan order. So he was a third Franciscan or whatever they call him. So he was a Franciscan member of that. And I almost want to say that those guys.
As in he was a monk?
He wasn't a monk. It's like being a member of this was
like the religious order.
Yes, it was like a religious order. It didn't require vows or anything, but it was a way to like pledge yourself to. I mean, everyone was a church member then, right? So if the whole country is a member of the capital C church, then how do you find your people? You just join different orders. I want to say, because Tommy, you asked like, well, what was the humanism? From what I looked at, I want to say it was almost a more empathetic, dare I say, liberal understanding. And we're going to talk about the Pope in a minute that commissioned the Sistine Chapel. That guy, you wouldn't want anything to do with him, so to speak. He was not a good guy. And I think this like Franciscan order would probably, I think we would get along with them a little bit more.
So is this school, it sounds like maybe this school had more to do with like an approach to the arts than it did philosophy?
No. So he
philosophy?
went and studied. No, okay, I'm just going to read you what I have on the secular Franciscan order. Is His third branch of the Franciscan family formed by Catholic men and women who seek to observe the gospel of Jesus by following the example of Francis of Assisi. So they're not under a higher direction. They just make a spiritual commitment to them.
Okay.
Yeah, and they it's just a way for it to. The third order is like a way for the other people to kind of attach themselves to this Franciscan style without taking the Franciscan way without taking these devout vows and kind of
Okay.
All right, yeah. But no, he went to a school. He was educated for a little bit, but then he starts slapping, so to speak. He's coming out. He starts creating some seriously good art. Let me see what he like creates early on. One of the big ones. Okay, so when he was like 17, have you guys seen the crucifix before? It's just called Crucifix. It's just a picture of Christ naked on the cross.
I'll pull it up real quick.
Yeah, so he did that when he was 17, and then by the time he was 18, and I know every listener has seen this before, his statue of Hercules.
Yes.
Yeah, so he did that when he was like 18.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he was incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you know what's wild? Like, so I know I'm getting ahead of it, but like
he's only been doing this for 5 years when he makes Hercules, you're saying?
Well,
right.
No, he'd been doing it his whole life, but I guess like professionally, yeah. So, yeah.
But like he's such an incredible sculptor, but this feels like someone I have to use Kanye West because I don't know anybody else, but let's assume all the Nazi stuff that happened over the past year didn't ever happen. It's like if someone came to Kanye West and they're like, Kanye, you're the greatest hip hop superstar of all time. We need you to paint the Sistine Chapel. It's basically right. like they're taking this dude who's a sculptor and like basically saying, oh, I'm sure all that stuff applies if you just start painting instead. Like that's crazy. But also the dude was just so talented. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, my favorite thing that he did, which is the Pieta, which have you guys seen that one? That's the one of Mary holding,
the Virgin holding Jesus.
Yes. That's my favorite that he did. Just from like a technical standpoint, the flowing cloth. That imagery of Mary holding Jesus, like his body was a common, like we don't have that in the Bible, but like she was also like alive. I'm just saying we're not being heretics here.
No, yeah. That's a very common visual, I think, especially in that time. And I mean, it's also, you're right. It's freaking gorgeous. I will say, so I've never been to Rome. My wife and I went to Belgium and a little bit in Paris when we were when we first got married, and there was a church. I think it was a basilica in Brussels that was the only church, I believe, that has a Michelangelo sculpture outside of the Vatican. And like, you know, if you've ever been to one of these like ginormous churches that just like is extremely historical, they've got tons of artwork and they basically section it off kind of like a line at like an amusement park. So you're just kind of like walking to one thing, oh, that's a relic, very cool. And you walk into one thing, oh, look, it's Peter with his dad, Joseph. And then you're just kind of keeping going. But like, it was at the very end, and we've just seen hundreds of years worth of spectacular, beautiful religious art. And then at the very end, you see a piece of Michelangelo, which is, I think it's called the Madonna with Child, where it's Mary with baby Jesus. And you're just immediately like, oh my gosh. Like everything I've seen was amazing, but this is incredible. So yeah, Michelangelo, prodigy.
Yeah, 100%, 100% a prodigy. And
sculpting I mean, has to be like the coolest art form too. It's just unbelievable.
I mean, you gotta think like this stuff was made like Pieta was made 500 years ago. So he made it when he was 20, like 25, mid 20s, somewhere in there.
That's just wild.
Oh, it's nuts. And
wild.
it just goes to show what is possible for humans to do when you just sort of like lock someone away and force them to like do something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
This is why Chinese Olympians just dominate.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, this is why communists, have got. They're like, if I just take away all these oppressive options, like you'll be really good.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last episode or a couple episodes ago. But I mean, education was that way too. You ship your child that you've beaten till they're 16, and then you ship them off to Oxford, and they come back a genius.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But, that's what ChatGPT's for.
That's
Dude,
right.
Just wait. It'll be like the next iPhone where I can just be like, hey, Siri, draw me a blah, blah, blah. And then Siri will be like, okay. And then we'll just generate something for me.
Yeah, like you did with this episode, right?
Yep. Man, catching strays left and right.
No, I know. I'm sorry. Yeah. So do you know how that kind of conversation went? So he's got to have this reputation for being one of the greatest sculptors around, right? He's probably getting commissioned by, politicians and clergy and stuff like that at that point.
And on that note, while he thinks about that, answer second question. You mentioned earlier that he was loaded. Was that because he had inheritance or because he made bank off of his
they paid pretty handsomely. So when I looked it up, it said it could either be he was paid either like a couple mil all the way upwards to like $50 million for Sistine Chapel.
Wow.
The equivalent. But if it's on the higher end, I mean, the guy had the equivalent of hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in his account when he died.
They just made him the most wealthy man in Rome.
Wow.
No, not even close. Then that just goes to show how much money the church has.
Said the most wealthy man.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think he was the most wealthy man, but he was definitely up there, which is so funny because he didn't care about his money like at all. It was literally the equivalent of somebody like these tech bros that are savants and are doing like, groundbreaking things with AI. And then they go to like their kind of dirty apartment and just like smoke hookah and then fall asleep on a beanbag and then like wake up and put on basketball shorts and go back. Like that's the equivalent of him. So you asked how that conversation went. So he had been commissioned to do all sorts of things. So, and that's how it worked back then. You didn't have the wealthy paid for art to be made, which goes to show, because if we're gonna talk about like why don't we have people creating this kind of stuff today? Well, you don't have Elon Musk being like, I want to create a beautiful public piece and I'm going to find the most talented guy in the world and pay him to do it for years. And then it's like going to belong to people. Like we don't really think that way anymore. Our society doesn't operate that way, but it did back then. And he kind of like passed around from different people, and it all came back down to like the fact that it started because his master was very famous already. His master had actually done like previous painting on the Sistine Chapel, I believe. And so now we get to Pope Julius II, which this guy. You said this was supposed to be the episode where we talk nicely about Catholics, but
it's a hard century to do that. Very difficult century to do that. So just to put
this into perspective, this guy is the worst and has been called the best of all the popes at the time. But
okay.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's the context of what's happening here?
So Julius becomes Pope in oh gosh. This
Is this when they were just chilling in France instead of doing their work in Rome?
No. I think the okay, here's a good little non sequitur or whatever rabbit trail. So history is really hard to do well. And let me tell you why, because it requires an immense amount of research. And guys like Tommy ask really good questions. And so someone who is very familiar with the High Renaissance, when he said, what's going on in France, would be able to take all of the data that they know and summarize it into like one sentence that's going to answer specifically what Tommy is asking. And
he's talking about ChatGPT right now.
No, I'm not. No. ChatGPT is terrible for this stuff, by the way. Like, don't.
Okay.
If when it comes to history, I would not trust ChatGPT. It does not. It hallucinates a lot. But anyway, so as someone who is trying to pursue history, it like I'm having fun bouncing around. But I got to tell you, I was so much more comfortable when we were just talking about the apostles a few months back, because like that was the world that I was living in. Like I was comfortable when we were in the 4th century patristics because we were just living in that world. And so those sorts of little questions are really good, Tommy, but they're really hard to just answer off the top of your head if you're not super familiar. If I am correct, I will say, if I'm correct, I will say, I think relations with France were getting better. I think they were. I do know right now in this time period what they were concerned with, kind of like early 16th century. They are concerned with reclaiming Italy completely and removing the barbarians. That was Pope Julius II's thing. Now, he was only Pope for 10 years. He started in 1503 and he died in 1513.
I am just now realizing the crazy overlap that's happening here, because most of the painting here is going to happen in like the early to mid 1500s. And this is literally as the Reformation is happening. Mm-hmm. So the entire Catholic world is like kind of in an upheaval right now.
Well, the whole world is.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because they just found this brand new continent that this guy, Christopher Columbus, comes back talking tale of, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the printing press, which I've ranted about before, but like that's now starting. Society is changing. This is what's going to lead to like the Enlightenment.
Right.
So the whole world is, all the Legos are dumped out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Much like today. I don't know if the Legos have ever been put together. But there are times where technical innovation or big change happens, and I think it's more chaotic than not.
Sure.
So this guy, Pope Julius, he was a product of nepotism. He held multiple bishops at the same time. I read somewhere up to he had like 5 bishoprics at the same time. He had a child. And you're like, wait, but I thought he was sworn to, celibacy. Yeah, me too.
Right.
Yeah. And then they still made him Pope. So, yeah.
God uses crooked sticks to draw straight lines. Is what I like to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't know if he used a crooked stick to
draw crooked lines.
borderline kidnap poor Michelangelo and force him to create one of the greatest works of art of all time. So there you go.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and I don't think Rome looks back at this period of time with fondness. So I know we're kind of like memeing about the Catholics right now, but I also know that this was just like a rough patch. I wouldn't want Southern Baptists to be judged by
your worst moments,
by our worst moments, i.e., we're splitting from you so we can keep our slaves. So I
think we all deserve the compassion and charity of not being judged by our historical lows.
That's right.
So I think that's fair. That's very fair.
So anyway, the last thing I'll say is, so Julian, as I said, he ascends the throne. Julian II ascends the throne, the papacy, at 1503. He picks the name Julius. Sorry, it's not Julian, it's Julius. And some people say he picked it not to honor the only other Pope, Julian, but rather to reference Julius of Rome.
Oh, so he wanted to be
Caesar.
Yeah. It was,
and
it was more of a religious political statement.
Yeah, and he was definitely like a military pope. I can't remember exactly where it was. He led troops in battle. Like,
wow.
What kind of pope is leading troops in battle? Well, this guy is. So anyway, there was a lot of war going on. You know, they just found this brand new continent, and this guy wants to like cement his legacy. Last thing I'll say. He also started construction on. He wanted to redo St. Peter's Basilica. So he actually started demoing like this dilapidated thing and wanted to like rebuild it. But then, if there's any doubt that this guy was, what's it called when someone's like obsessed with power?
Power hungry.
Widowy Hitwa.
If there was any doubt that this guy is not power hungry, there was a word I was looking for, but that word, he once again tried to kidnap, and I think he did successfully, but then he died. He wanted Michelangelo to like build him this grand tomb. So I say,
and Michelangelo was down with the tomb, though, right?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't know if I saw that.
Okay.
I don't. All I know is he threw quite a bit of money at Michelangelo and basically used all his papal authority to twist his arm to get him to come here and do this.
Now, Taylor, I have a very important question. Are you familiar with the poem?
A poem Michelangelo wrote?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know. We should also tell the listeners. So he's famous for sculpting and painting, but he was also a wordsmith.
So he wrote a poem, and I'm going to read it right now because it's not super long. This is actually kind of amazing. So Taylor explained this well, but he was basically coerced by kind of a despot of a pope to do something he didn't want to do. He already had artistic ventures that he was really psyched about. And remember, we already mentioned this too. He painted during two different eras. Like he painted the ceiling from 1508 to 1512. He painted the Last Judgment like 20 plus years later.
Yeah, after the Pope had died. So
yeah, wow. So he had done when he did the Last Judgment. This man was, I think, in his 60s, and he, again, you're painting the ceiling, so he has to go up on one of those. Gosh dang it, what are those called? You guys probably know it. Scaffolding. Yeah, so he's like basically dangling up in the air for hours and hours at a time.
You know why it had to be that?
Why is that?
Because the Pope wanted the Sistine Chapel to still be functional.
Oh gosh.
Yep. So he couldn't build. They couldn't build like traditional scaffolding that he could like climb up and stand and like stretch out on, and this like destroyed his back. Like he had to rest for, some sources say, like months at a time.
This poor guy.
Yes.
Well, here, I'm going to read this poem because it's pretty amazing. Here we go. I've already grown a goiter from this torture. Hunched up here like a cat in Lombardy or anywhere else where the stagnant water is poison. My stomach squashed under my chin, my beard's pointing at heaven, my brain's crushed in a casket, my breast twists like a harpy's. My brush above me all the time dribbles paint so my face makes a fine floor for droppings. My haunches are grinding into my guts. My poor ass strains to work as a counterweight. Every gesture I make is blind and aimless. My skin hangs loose below me and spine's all knotted from folding over itself.
Oh.
I'm bent taut as a Syrian bow. Because I'm stuck like this, my thoughts are crazy, perfidious tripe. Anyone shoots badly through a crooked blowpipe. My painting is dead. Defend it for me, Giovanni. Protect my honor. I am not in the right place. I am not a painter.
Oh my God.
Gosh. So good. And you feel so bad for this guy. Oh man.
That sounded like a tweet.
Dude, yeah. Yeah. He was pretty miserable. It seemed like he actually kind of hated this whole process. So I'll get into kind of our last little mini story on the Sistine, the Sistine escapades here, which was in addition to all of the physical pain that poor Michelangelo had to go through, it was actually wildly sort of controversial. So when one of the most known things is the Last Judgment, which he painted over 5 years from 36 to 41, which is a depiction of Christ's return. And so when you look at it, it's just this massive, like just feature of portraits. There's dozens and dozens of figures all around it. There's Christ and Mary, there's saints and angels, there's demons, there's the people being delivered into heaven, there's people who are being condemned to hell. It's just incredibly vivid. And it's one of those things that you could like move like square by square and just see so much detail. The bodies are so animated, the facial expressions are so realistic. It's just incredible. But one thing that Michelangelo valued, probably because I could see this being both a theological and maybe some of the humanist influence, but he was not deterred at all by nude bodies. And so of all these figures that he plastered all above this chapel, there were like 40 plus that were just like fully nude, which again, he saw as artistic expression. I think there was this sense that, this is a moment of judgment in which we are all deeply vulnerable and exposed. So to put people in clothes would actually be kind of this distraction, this kind of like removal of something. But he was pretty on board with that. And one of the cardinals around the time that it was being painted, his name was Biagio da Cesena, and he was very upset about it. He has this quote that's pretty famous. He said regarding the nudity, he said, "It was most disgraceful that in so sacred a place there should have been depicted all those nude figures exposing themselves so shamefully, and that it was no work for a papal chapel, but rather for the public baths and taverns." So basically like, yeah.
I'm looking at it. I'm really curious. I've got to look this up. In this, towards the center, there's somebody holding like just the skin of a human body.
It's Bartholomew.
I was going to ask if it was Bartholomew. That's so cool.
I'm telling you, there's so many like kind of homages here and things like that. So what I think is hysterical is Michelangelo responded. And if you've got a portrait of the Last Judgment in front of you, zoom into the very bottom right, and you'll see a generously buff dude with the ears of a goat wrapped with a snake, and another snake is biting his his junk, and that's Minos, the judge of the underworld, but who Michelangelo painted to resemble this cardinal who had criticized him. And so the fact that he was like, "Oh, because I know you're so modest, I'm not gonna feature your private parts," but he covered it by having a snake biting him there.
That's crazy.
Is just expert level trolling. That's pretty crazy. So
it's interesting. He actually uses loincloths to cover up almost everybody. There's a lot of exposed backsides, but there appears to be one guy who does not have a loincloth. So I'm like, who's that?
Well, no. So here's the thing, dude. So here's where this extends. So when Michelangelo dies, actually no, I have to share the end of this quick anecdote. So when Cardinal Cesena complained to the Pope about what he had done, this like mockery, apparently the Pope reported, unfortunately, my authority does not extend to hell, so I can't change anything. Because he was featured as the king of the underworld, basically. He's being tongue in cheek, but yeah, kind of ridiculous. But no, after Michelangelo died, again, we talked about the Reformation. This was when the Counter-Reformation was starting to happen. This was a really interesting kind of social, political era, especially in Italy and Spain. But they kind of have this new value system of like, you know, we want our areas to be very modest. And if this is a place of worship, and if this is a private chapel for our Pope, we want it to be, you know, respectful. And so they hired this dude who is like very controversial now, Daniel de Volterra, and he basically was tasked with going up and censoring a lot of the nudity. So he added fig leaves, or he would add loincloths, and he was given the nickname Il Bregatoni, which is the breeches maker. So basically, Mr. Pants.
Mr. Pants.
And then, so it remains like that for a very long time. And then just recently, in the past, like, I don't know, late 20th century, like the 1980s, the Sistine Chapel underwent restoration, which restoration is not very uncommon for major pieces of art. It's basically just kind of a way to remove the dust and the junk that's kind of accumulated over the years. And because of the context in which a lot of these were added, a few of them were removed where it was appropriate to do so. Basically, they kind of tried to assess where it looked really haphazardly done, where it compromised the artistic integrity by covering the things up. And then they would try to restore those to the original. But the majority of the coverings actually stayed because they felt it was a valuable part of the piece's history. But yeah, so that's a real interesting little controversial episode for them back then. Yeah.
Well, good job, John.
Thanks, G. Yeah. So
Fascinating.
If you guys ever go to the Sistine Chapel, you'll have to let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd really like to.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and comment on Spotify. We get popping every week. So I missed this shout out last. I saw Zach, who was a guy I met in Alabama. I saw that he had commented on an episode a while ago, and I never said anything. I'm so sorry. So shout out Zach.
Oh, dang.
Shout out our Catholic friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To shout out our guy Brian. He commented that, you know, he's just been a recurring listener for a while, and yeah, he just really enjoys our goofy jokes and stuff. And just reading your comment, Brian, actually really warmed the heart of the group chat quite a bit. So we appreciate you, man, and we're real grateful to have you guys around.
Yep.
And I will say, you know, we talk a lot about the Catholic Church and how they're asking for money when they don't need it. And, you know, we ask for money as a podcast.
But we need it.
But we need it. Yeah. Because no one's tithing to us. No one's ever given us an indulgence to get their grandma out of purgatory.
Oh, we could start that.
We could start. Well, we can't start that. Can we start that?
No, absolutely not.
We'll talk about it off the mics. But yeah, we would love, like I said, we've got a goal for the year of 2026. We'd love to become financially self-sufficient, because that would kind of free us up to just do more stuff. We're not having to pay the piper every episode.
Every piece of content always free though.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to keep giving away Chump Talk for free. We don't want to do paywalls. We'd really like to not have to do ads. I'm tired of all this Squarespace and Raycon headphones and all that junk. Like I want to do that. So
if you'd like to advertise with us, shoot us a message.
Dude, I actually like that way better. Yeah. It was like, if you shot us like $20 and you were like, hey, could you just shout out my like lumber yard? I'd be like, yo,
dude, I would be so
Joe's excited. Lumber in Tacoma, Washington.
Right. Hit him up for all your lumber needs.
That's right. All right. Well, that's all we got for today. Hey, we will see you guys in the new year.
In 2026.
That's right. We can't wait.
God bless you.
All right. See you guys.